Hi, come on in. Today we are crocheting this cute tiny little ghost here for Halloween. It is the third in my mini series of small quick Halloween makes, and if you missed the first two, the first one is a spooky eyeball and the second is a mini pumpkin. I'll link them in the description for you. These are perfect for last minute projects you can finish in an evening, and they make great decorations too. You could pop them on a keyring like I've done with this one, make a little garland, or just as a fun Halloween display. So for today I am using Hayfield Bonus DK yarn with my 3.25mm hook. That is a bit smaller than usual for this yarn weight, but I like my stitches to be nice and tight when I'm doing these makes. You'll find everything I'm using again in the description box down below, and that includes all the yarn, hooks and some of my favourite tools. But before we dive in, I've got something I think you'll love. I've put together a Crochet Mini Helper Pack that you can grab completely free during this month. It's a little bundle of my go-to crochet tools in printable form. Things I use all the time on every project. It's packed with a printable stitch guide, yarn conversion chart, project tracker, and checklist, which makes your crochet life so much easier. It's super handy to keep by your side, and it's totally free for this month. There's a link in the description below. So again, grab your copy while you can and make your crochet time smoother and more fun. Alright, let's get started on this ghost. To start with, we make a magic ring. We put our yarn around our fingers, crossing it at the back there. Take your hook, put it underneath that first piece of yarn, hooking the second piece and pulling it through and twisting it. Put the yarn over your hook, pull it through that loop there, and that just fixes it in place and forms your first chain stitch. We will now make 6 UK double crochets, US singles into this magic ring. So we put our hook through, pull through the yarn over and pull through both stitches. Now you can sometimes see you end up with this little piece that seems to stick out, and it can overlook your work when you're finishing. So I tend to just make sure that's pulled a little bit tighter, just pulling this little end here, and you can see that that just helps to bring that in and stop you having that same little lump there, which we don't want. So we've made one, a little bit tighter, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull this a bit tighter. And we're going to now start our second row. So we're going to work in the round. Now, I like to use a stitch marker whenever I work in the round. It stops you from losing where you're at. I use a paper clip rather than the normal stitch marker simply because I like to use them. I find them a little bit easier to use, but you can use a proper stitch marker. This just happens to be what I like to use. I like them in different colours I can get them in as well. So put your hook through your first stitch right there, yarn over, pulling it back, and we're making a single crochet there. Put your stitch marker on your stitch right there so you know what your first stitch was. Right there. And we are going to be making 2 UK double crochets, US single crochets in every stitch the whole way around. So we've put one in there already, so we're putting the second one in. It's 2. We'll do the same in the next one. 3 and 4. When you come round to the other side, you should have 12 stitches in total. And I will meet you when you have finished putting in 2 UK double crochets, US single in each stitch. I've finished that first row. I'm going to just pull that a little bit tighter there. So I'm going to take our stitch marker out and go on. This will actually be our third round. And to start this round, we're going to make 1 UK double crochet US single in the first stitch right there. And we will return our stitch marker. And we'll make 2 in the next one. 1 in the next one, and 2 in the next one, and that will be the pattern the whole way around. This time be 1 UK double crochet US single in this one, and then 2 in the next, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, all the way around to the end, and when you're finished you'll have 18 stitches. Come to the end of the round and I have 18 stitches. Take out my stitch marker, your hook through. We are making another UK double crochet US single in our first stitch, and we are putting our stitch marker back in, and we this time are going to make a single UK double crochet US single in each stitch, and then we will be doing the same for rows 4 to 6. So in the next 3 rows, this row and another 2, we will be making our UK double crochet US single the whole way around. We'll continually have 18 stitches. It will be on the screen for you, and I will meet you when you finish those 3 rows. So I finished my 6th row, and in this row we are going to make his little arms here. So take out your stitch marker. We are going to make 1 UK double crochet US single crochet in the first 4 stitches. Remember to put back in your stitch marker. Show your first stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, and a 4. Then we're going to work into the next stitch here, and we're going to make a few stitches in the same one to make that little arm. So we're going to make, first of all, a UK double crochet US single, and then a half treble, which is yarn over, through, pull back your yarn, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. We're going to make 2 chain, 1 and 2, and we're going to make something that is a picot stitch. So we've done our 2 chain, and we're going to come down here and in the stitch here at the bottom, so we've got a 2 chain there, right through that bottom stitch right there. We are going to just place a hook through that front loop there, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on our hook. So we've made a slip stitch into that. We're going to make another half treble crochet UK, half double crochet US into this stitch here. Again, the same stitch, so yarn over, hook through, yarn over and pull back, yarn over and pull through all 3. Then we will make a UK double crochet US single into the same stitch, and then we have made our first little arm. When you're moving into the next stitch, just be careful you have got the next stitch, because this sometimes overshadows it, so pull that to the side so that you can see it. And we will be making a UK double crochet US single into the next 8. So that's into 1, into the next one, 2, and 8. Into the next one, we will be making our next little arm. So we go with a UK double crochet US single first, then the half treble or half double crochet US, 3 loops and pull through all 3, 2 chain, 1 and 2, and into that loop down here, just into that first part of the stitch, yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook to make that slip stitch. We're going to move back down here with a half treble and pull through all 3, and then a UK double crochet US single to finish that arm. And in this last 4 stitches we will make 1 UK double crochet US single. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Start our next round. I will show you this first round. Now it is just making a UK double crochet US singles the whole way around. Remember to put your stitch marker in. 1, 2, 3, and 4 brings us to our little arm here. But to pick up the stitch that was used for the arm, we need to look behind here. You can see the stitch that we've worked in here. Just looking behind. We want to work into the back. We just want to put our hook through there and pick up a stitch so we have the same number going round. So that will be our 5th stitch. So just, you can see the one that we worked in before. I'll show you that again to make sure you know where you're going. You can just see where you've worked before, and you can see where the little arm is. And this is the stitch from before, but that's the one we're going to actually use to pick up our stitch here. Just put your hook through this almost little hole there and out the other side. Put your yarn over, pulling it through, yarn over and pull through both, and you've picked up your stitch. And then when we come back, you need to make sure that you are coming into your next stitch. And you can just see all of those are into this stitch. So we need to then come out and go into the next stitch, which is this one right here. Just put your hook through, yarn over and pull through both. That bit is a little bit fiddly, but that's the only bit it is. And just work your way around with UK double crochets US singles to your next little arm. There should be 8 in between there. Just like that. And we've come to our second arm here. And again, we are going to pick up our stitch, and we're going to use exactly the same method again, looking for that previous stitch right there. We can see the little almost hole gap where we've been crocheting our arm into it. So put your hook in through that hole and out through the other side of that stitch to pick up the stitch for us. Yarn over and pulling through, yarn over and pull through both. And again, being careful when you come to this side. That is all that one stitch right here, all worked into there. So then we need to go into the one after it. You should have 4 more stitches after this. And you can see it's this one here. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So take your hook, putting it in through that stitch right there, pull it back through and pull through both. And then finish your last 3 stitches. And for the next few rows, it will just be a UK double crochet US single in each. So that's your first one of the next row. Turn it on properly, put your stitch marker back in. So that was round 8 that we've just completed, and we have 4 more rows to complete of UK double crochet US single just in each of the stitches the whole way round. And I will meet you back when you've completed those rounds. It is on the screen for you, so you can see it. You can pause the video and come back when you have finished those few rounds, and I will meet you at the end of round 12. So I've come to the end of row 12. Take out our stitch marker, and we're going to make a decrease row. We're only decreasing by 2 stitches, but it will make the next row work. So we'll start with the decrease, so in through that front loop only and into the front loop of the second one. Yarn over, pull through those 2, yarn over and pull through the 2 on your hook. Put in our stitch marker again. We'll make 7 UK double crochets US singles. 1, 2, and 7. We'll then do a decrease in the next one, so in through that front loop and the front loop of the next one, yarn over, pull through those, yarn over, pull through the 2 on your hook, and then another 7 UK double crochets US singles. 1, 2, and 7. At the end of that round we will have 16 stitches. I've finished my 12th round and I'm just going to pull my loop longer at the minute. We're not finishing it off, but I want to do my eyes here on the front. So I'm going to get a little bit of black yarn in, cut it off. Just thread my needle there, and we want to place them. If you have a look at this one, the bottom is almost level with the bottom of his eyes. It's just about level on the row that he has his little arms. So if we look here, just about level here, and again we have roughly 2 to 3 stitches in between. Again, you'll have to eyeball this a little bit and get it to what you particularly like. If I look here, I can see the stitches we've got here, and I think I'm going to place it right there. It will be my first one. So I'll put the needle up inside, coming out of that hole right there, pulling it through, and I tend to put my finger inside now, pull my yarn up, but just put my finger over that yarn to hold it on right there. Don't pull it too far in. Give yourself a little bit so that you can then tie it off at the end. And that's why you want to put your finger on it, to make sure you don't pull it through. Now we want these eyes to be a little bit longer to make them that little bit more spooky. So we're not going to go into the first one there, but obviously if we go into the second one, it will be a little bit lopsided. So we're just going to go into this part here and right in the middle of where you just see those there. Put your needle through and come back out the same hole. You don't need too much stitching in this. It's quite an easy pattern to use. Go back in the same hole up there. But instead of coming back out here, we're going to move over. Again, you want to look at your little guy and make sure that you have got the right place. We're going to come out this hole here. That's just about even with where this one is on this side. Make sure you've got hold of that wool on the the yarn on the inside. So we're coming out roughly about there. Don't pull it too tight again. And if you're not happy with your placement, you can always take it back out and redo them. When you have a look at it, I frequently do. Eyes is not my best thing. You can use safety eyes, but because I have so many little grandchildren, I tend to not use safety eyes, as it is safer to use yarn to make your eyes. For them, it's less of a choking hazard. So that's my 2 little eyes for him. Keep that inside. You can adjust these around a little bit, but it looks quite good. This one might need a little bit of tightening, so I will just take the other end of thread and just tighten it up a little bit. That looks a little bit better. There we go, that looks better. Turn them inside out. Take your end, take it back over here to the other side. I just loop it around the yarn as I go. Put a little knot in it, because that will hold it firm and make sure it just doesn't come out. Don't pull too tight, because otherwise it will make the eyes look too tight on the other side. Now usually I leave all my yarn on the inside, like I have done with the part up here, to add to the stuffing, but because this is black and I don't want it showing through so much on our little ghost, I'm going to snip it off, leaving a little bit so that it won't show through as much. Turn your ghost back the right way. His little eyes are done. So for the next round, we will be making those little frills. We'll take out our stitch marker, and as I say, we are making the little frilly bits at the bottom of the ghost. And we're going to work into the front loops only. So if you have a look at your stitch, you've got the V there, and you work into this little front loop right there. And into this first one, we are going to make 4 UK double crochet US singles just into the front loop. Remember to mark your stitch there. That's 1, and into that front loop again, 2, 3, and 4. And we will miss out the next stitch and work into the front loop again with a slip stitch. Skip 1 and make 4 again. 2, 3, and 4. Skipping 1 and make a slip stitch, and that's what you do the whole way around. It'll be here on the screen for you, and I'll meet you when you finish that. And so we're now going to start picking up the inside, these back loops only. You can see them sitting here, the ones that we haven't used. Now, that's why we worked in the front loops, and if you take it this way, you can just see most of them sitting there the whole way around. This is quite fiddly to find, and if you do miss one, it's not a huge problem because it is for the bottom, and we will be decreasing in the next. So if we just have a look and turn it up, and you can just see where our back loops are. You can see the back loops the whole way around here. Now, it's easy to miss one when we are picking these up, and if you do, please don't worry. The next one is a decrease round. It is on the bottom and you won't see it, but we should still have 16 stitches when we are finishing this. It is very easy to miss one. So as I say, it is quite forgiving in that way. You won't really see it when you are finished your little ghosts. So we're looking for that first one right there. So I am just going to slip stitch this. That's where we're beginning. Just slip stitched to that and putting in my put in my stitch marker to make sure I know where I'm coming to. And now we're going to have a look here for all these. See, it is quite fiddly because it is quite small, but we're just picking up all these back loops only. So put your hook through them. Really try and spread out your little ghost there. That looks quite long. Let's just pull that in a bit. And we're going to be making a UK double crochet US single into all of the back loops. That's your first one. You have a look and you can see that's your next one right there. Just pick them up the whole way around. As I say, it is fiddly, but you can just see where they all are. Done that one. You can see the next one right there. And then the next one there. Just do this the whole way around, making a UK double crochet US single in each of these. And I will see you when you've picked up your 16 stitches. So I've picked up all my stitches here the whole way around. But before we carry on, we are going to just stuff our little ghost because the next one is a decrease and we'll just about finish our ghost. So I have some of this little poly stuffing material, polyfiber stuffing, and you can use, as I say, the yarn ends for your projects. I often do, but I decided to use the stuffing this time. I will have it linked in the description box again for you down below, so just put your stuffing into your little ghost here. Make sure he's nice and full. Just making sure he's a good shape too, because you don't want him to be all lopsided, although you can fiddle with that at the end. Just a little bit more, I think. Now, obviously, when you finish your next row, you can put a little bit more if you need to, but it is very fiddly to do, so therefore I try to get reasonable stuffing into to them before I do that. Now for our last row, I'll take out that for the minute. We are going to do a decrease the whole way around. So that means for every stitch we are going to decrease. We are not going to have any single stitches on their own. And to do that, we are doing a decrease double crochet UK, single crochet US. And we're just going to go into front loops only. So we will start with our first stitch and our front loop only there. You can just see it. Front loop there. And then the front loop of the next stitch. Again, this can be a little fiddly, but it's a little bit easier to see where these loops are than it was in the last row. So front loops only, yarn over, pulling through those two, yarn over and pulling through the two in your hook. If you look for your next two loops, you're doing two stitches, you're doing exactly the same. Go through that front loop of the first stitch and the front loop of the second stitch. Whoops. There we go. Yarn over, pulling through those two, yarn over and pulling through both on your loop. And again, in through that one and in through the front of the next one. Just do this the whole way around and I will meet you when you've finished. Now I've finished my decrease round. I'm going to pull myself a nice long yarn end there. And as I say, you do have a very small hole there. If you do feel you need to put a little bit more filling in, you can, but it does make it quite awkward to do it because it is such a small filling, such a small hole. So therefore that's why I do my most of my stuffing before. Forget the end. Just thread your needle, wool through your needle. And now we are going to weave in and out of those stitches that we have left. So just put it out and in and out and in and out and in and out. And then we will just pull that tight. Doesn't take much to tighten that in. And then we're going to just put a stitch across it. This just helps, oops, to get our bottom closed properly and make sure it's secure. And another one the other way. We're going to do a little knot. So put your hook through one of the stitches, sorry, your needle through one of the stitches, put your yarn over it and pull it through. And then we're going to go right up through our little ghost with our needle, coming out just behind the top of his head here, pulling that up. It just helps to pull the bottom in that little bit and will help with how he looks. Take your scissors, just push down a little bit. Take your scissors and snip off your yarn. Then when you come up, that end will disappear. And you will just have to maneuver him around to how you want him to be. Make sure that he's shaped the way you want him. So I've got my second little ghost, and obviously I have done a keyring on the top of this. You don't have to put a keyring on him. I have these little keyring parts here. I'll show you what they are. They come as one of these little rings that's attached to the top here, and you put it through the top of him and then put your little keyring on. I will link them in the description box down below as well. So you do sort of need to work with them a little bit to get the stuffing to move to where you want to, but I do think that they're very effective. And that's our cute little ghost done. Don't forget your free Crochet Mini Helper Pack. It's linked down below and packed with handy guides to make every project easier. Grab it while it's free. Comment down below how you've got on with these mini Halloween makes. Hit subscribe so that you don't miss anything more that comes out on this channel. And I will link the 2 tutorials from earlier, the spooky eyeball and the mini pumpkin, here at the end and in the description box down below. What's left for me to say is thank you for joining me, for keeping me company, and I'll see you in the next one.